The Inspiration Stage is the #1 award-winning equestrian organisation that supports all of us and protects us on a daily basis. Please welcome to the stage the team from Forces Equine.
Way.
Surrender my everything 'cause you made me believe you're mine.
We're your biggest fan.
So everyone gets comfortable. We've got a lot of you on stage today, so many brilliant people. Debbie, I want to start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about Forces Equine and what you do? You founded it.
I did, yeah. So back in 2008, I developed a website so when you got posted, you knew where to find your local yard, feed supplier, farrier, etc. And in 2011, we were approached by British Show Jumping to partner up with them, and then British Dressage, British Eventing, and it has just grown from there on. We have our national games every year, which is the Forces Equine Games. Everyone gets together and they compete at all disciplines. And the organisation is growing, but to be fair, I just wanted to give something back to, I mean, I serve, but something back to an environment that is very special to me and you know, community that's very special to me. But to be fair, if it wasn't for our amazing members, there would be no Forces Equine.
Well, we do have members here and team here. Can we just go along the line? I'll start over there and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what you're doing with Forces Equine.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Sergeant Charlotte Lee. I'm in Dorset Police. I've been a member of Dorset Police since 2014 now, and a member of Forces Equine since 2015. I primarily show jump. Produced all my own horses, compete up to 140, 150 level, and I also run a livery yard at home of full liveries and competition horses as well. So 2 full-time jobs for me.
So I'm Dylan. Right? So I'm Dylan Hinton. I am in the British Army, in the Household Cavalry Regiment. I joined in 2017, so this is coming up to my 6th year now. I'm not with the horses anymore, so most of you might have seen that you know, in the Household Cavalry we guard at Queen's, or now King's now, at Buckingham Palace. I recently moved about 2 years ago now to the armoured side, where I joined the Army Equitation team, and then I trained with those and competed for the British Army then. I've also, in 2019, I went to Olympia, the first time I ever went to Olympia to compete with the musical ride. And then last year and the year before that, I competed in the services jumping at London as well. So yeah, it's a bit about me.
I'm Daisy Williams. I'm a Forces Equine young rider. I show jump up to 120, 125 level. I've been to quite a few of the most prestigious venues in the country, such as Hoy's, Hickstead. I came to Hoy's in 2019 and made history by winning and coming second on 2 ponies that I've produced from basically when they were broken. So yeah, Hickstead, we've had Forces Equine supporting us the whole time throughout. So yeah, it's been really good.
I'm PC Jenna Hastings. I currently work for Gloucestershire Police, and I'm a little bit mad because I do mounted police as well, so I'm horses at work and horses at home. Before that I was in Hertfordshire as a police community support officer and as a response officer, and then I am just purely grassroots, so I event to 90 level and I do a bit of show jumping, a bit of dressage with my gelding that I've got at home. So yeah, I just go to all the sort of services shows and just do a bit of dressage, a bit of show jumping there, and then event separately as well.
I'm Amy Obiagelu. I'm a prison officer. I've been in the prison service now for nearly 18 years. I worked in HMP Wandsworth for 11 years, and I now work in HMP Berwyn, which is in North Wales. I joined Forces Equine in 2018, I think, and I did the games then. I compete at BE 90 and I do BD up to elementary, although I had a baby last year, so I'm just coming back into it now, and I'll probably go out at BE 80 this year just to get going again.
Captain David Heath-French. I'm part of the Army Medical Services. I'm also one of the co-founders with Debbie of Forces Equine. I have the easy job. I'm the back office operations, so I'm a terrible polo player as far as my equestrian qualifications. I have dabbled in a little bit of show jumping, not to a high standard at all. However, I do enjoy the equine industry, and I offer that support and the operations to keep FE ticking along day to day.
It's amazing the array of people we have here and joining the members as well. Just how important is it, I'll throw this out to all of you, but Charlotte, we'll start with you. How important is it to have Forces Equine, and how on earth are you juggling? Like you said, you've got a livery at home as well as riding and your job. How does Forces Equine help you juggle work-life balance?
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Can you juggle it?
With great difficulty, to say the least, but I think I'm a firm believer in loving what you do. So I have a job that I love, and I've got a hobby that I love. I'm not brave enough like Jenna to combine the two, so I like to keep them separate for now. So being a member of Forces Equine is taking me to some of the best venues in the world, to be honest. I was invited to compete at the London Global Championship Tour, which is held in the grounds of Chelsea Hospital. And I'll tell you, the feeling to compete in central London in front of Chelsea Hospital whilst in uniform and to win there was probably the best moment of my life so far. And without this organisation, I wouldn't have had the chance to go there. So I'm really thankful. And it's just, we're a great team. We have great camaraderie. People are always there to support each other. And even if you have a bad day, it doesn't matter because, we'll all just have a laugh. So, the opportunity to go to these big venues. Hickstead is another one that we go to. Used to compete in the team event there. Again, I've been lucky enough to go around the Speed Derby as well. But when I did the Speed Derby, I was competing on my own, but I still had Forces Equine members there coming to support. So, it's just a really nice family environment, and like I say, we get to go to some great places.
It's fascinating to hear all of that, especially to be competing in uniform and win, like you said, must have been so emotional. Amy, I want to come to you. Your job, to me, sounds very stressful. Is horses almost like a therapy for you? Is it a getaway? And what has Forces Equine done for you in order to sort of get out of that headspace and get out and compete?
Yeah, it's most definitely, it's a very, very stressful job. No 2 days are ever the same. So horses are my lifeline, they're my end of a stressful day, go for a ride, everything's fine again, so it's great. And, finding Forces Equine has been brilliant because I'm also part of the prison service equestrian team, and that's kind of how I got into it. And like you say, Charlotte, we're a family, so, we all understand, we all deal with similar things, see similar things. So it's, it's just really good, it's nice.
Nice way to switch off. We've obviously got a lot of women on this panel, but we do have our 2 men as well. Coming to you, is it nice to have that family environment around you at all times and be able to speak to people about what you've seen, what you're going through with the world of horses?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest events that we do as Forces Equine is obviously Forces Equine Games. And it's just a bit of fun. It's, get out, just have fun. Take away your job for a few days and go and have fun. And obviously, everyone's experienced similar things. Everyone's been in environments that you've been in. And it's just nice to just sometimes on the night sit down after the games because it's normally spread over 2-3 days. So, after we've had the jumping on the first day, we'll have a sit down, we'll have a chat in the bar, and as everyone likes to drink. But it's nice to just sit there and have a chat with everyone and just get to know people more, especially with the new people that keep coming in to Forces Equine as well. It's lovely to meet new people and just share them experiences with them.
Absolutely. Daisy, I'm going to come to you. Am I right in saying your parents are serving?
Yeah.
What's been your highlight with Forces Equine? Is it lovely for you to be able to get away from what your parents are doing and actually celebrate you and what you're doing as well?
Yeah, no, it's really good because with Forces Equine they just sponsor, they support with everything you do, so all the competitions you'll do, they'll always be, if they're not there in person, they'll be watching the live stream, watching the live results, and they'll always be supported and keeping you going.
It's amazing to see, and like you said at Hoy's, I mean, to go 1-2 with 2 ponies is just what a phenomenal result. Let's have a round of applause for that result, actually. Jenna, going to come to you as well. We are asking, everyone to juggle home life, work life, horses and everything. We all know that horses take up a huge amount of our time, but we love them. What is it about horses for you that keeps you going?
I just think it's always been my escape from work. Obviously, when I started being a mounted officer, there was consideration of whether I was still going to enjoy it outside of work. But it's so different. I now get to do, I mean, obviously being a police officer, I love being a police officer anyway, and then to be able to do mounted is like the dream job for me. But it's such a different way of riding and what you're doing that home life is still an escape. I mean, I have a horse on DIY, so I have to make it work. But I think sometimes when you do this job, because of the shift work, it actually works in our favour. That I've got a lot of people on my yard, they work 9 to 5, they're struggling all through winter to get ridden at night, whereas I might be starting in the afternoon so I can work in the morning. And I find that one of the big things with Forces Equine that I actually like doing the supporting side of things. So I'm over in Gloucestershire, so I have like Wales and West showgrounds, things like that, and the guys that are competing at a bit higher level, I keep asking them, when are you going? Because I like to go and do that as well, and it's lovely that you can meet people from all over that do all different things. I think with the sort of Army and the Royal Air Force and the Navy, they all have a sort of sporting group where they've all together. The police and emergency services is very different, where we're all sort of singular. So it's been great to have something where you can sort of meet other people from different sections and go, oh, actually, you're going to a show down the road from me, I'll come and support you. So that's kind of my favourite thing about doing it. I like that more than riding, really.
How competitive does it get between you all? Debbie's nodding. It is very competitive. David, you're the man behind it all. You're the man behind the scenes, like you said. Debbie founded this and set it up. How proud are you seeing it happen and seeing it work?
Oh, exceptionally. I mean, obviously you come up with these ideas like everyone does, but you never expect it to grow and turn into something as it is today. We're 14, 15 years on. We've got 1,300 members across Europe. We've got people who, from grassroots all the way up competing at 2-3 star level in 4 different disciplines. And also, for us, importantly, it's the partnerships we've made across the industry. We've got all the governing bodies that support us. We've got some fantastic names that support us and allow us to do what we do. And also, they all get the concept and the idea of Forces Equine. It's given that support back to those who put their lives, on risk every single day. We all come together like-minded people. I know mental health has been bouncing around for a good number of years, but it doesn't go away, even if it's not in the media, and that's what we're here for, to support each other. So I'm very impressed.
It's one of those things that any of us who aren't serving, we don't know what you do behind the scenes because you do such a good job. It seems to flow very perfectly, but I'm sure it's incredibly stressful and an incredibly hard job, and we all thank you very much for that. Debbie, I wonder for you, seeing Forces Equine, how big it is now, especially the games, how did that all come about for you? How did you manage to get it to the level that it is now?
Because I'm mad. We've got incredible sponsors. There are some here today. We've got Pet Vertex, one of our newest sponsors, Botanica, the Equestrian Index, our partners, British Dressage, are here. Without them doing what they do, which is giving us prizes, being there for us, because we're not for profit, we wouldn't be able to do FEG. And then obviously we need the members to turn up. The venues are fantastic. We've been at home at Arena UK for a good few years. They've been brilliant. This year we're going to Western Lawns. It's a new venue for us, but it's the other side of the country, but it's still the centre. Without our governing bodies and everyone behind the scenes, sponsors, partners, the whole lot, and our members, we would not keep growing. And it's word of mouth, and that's how it keeps growing.
100%. I want to ask you, because we obviously had COVID times and lockdown, how have you come out of that? How have you kept this going for you guys as well? Were you managing to ride throughout lockdown? Were you managing to, obviously no one could really compete, but how important was that to keep it going mentally?
We did a lot of stuff online, so we did some Instagram lives just to get, I got to interview Amy, who was in Wonder Woman 1984, which was pretty cool. But we got to interview lots of our members, so I felt that kept us together. We did an online awards ceremony to keep people together. We did online dressage competitions and stuff, as long as we weren't putting on the NHS. Because they couldn't get out. But we just kept that buzz going, and that's why we're all still here. And we've got new members from that as well. So you've just got to try and do what you can. And as my husband pointed out, you've got to think of your mental health. And the pandemic was a nightmare, especially if you're like us. We like to get together as much as possible, have a drink, enjoy our horses, social, and you just couldn't do that. So it was whatever we could do online.
I also cannot let slide Wonder Woman. Amy. Please explain Wonder Woman to us. What were you doing in the Wonder Woman film, and where can I see this?
I was a riding stunt double for one of the Amazons in Wonder Woman, yes.
That's incredible. What was that experience like?
The best experience of my life.
She hates talking about it.
Second to Forces.
I don't like to talk about it though. I don't.
Well, listen, I want to throw this out to the audience as well. So if you have a think about some questions before I come to you, so just get your questions ready. As Lee said earlier, don't be shy. They won't bite. But just mental health is such a big thing. It is such a big thing. Charlotte, for you, I want to come back to you. Mental health in terms of your job and the horses, career, everything. What does Forces Equine do? Is there support for mental health as well?
I think mainly it's just having someone to talk to and having like-minded people to talk to. Being a sergeant, I have to manage a team of people, and the things that we see on a daily basis are things that like beyond what you'd even imagine that you'd have to put yourself through. And I spend a lot of time managing other people's mental health, and then that has an impact on yourself as well. So for me, just having somebody to talk to, even if it's not about work, it's just general chit chat, and these guys are all great at lifting you up. Like, if you're having a bad day, just pick up the phone to someone. Someone will always answer, probably Debbie mostly for me. And when you get to the end of that phone call, no matter what, you'll always feel better. So I think, it'll be the same in any of the services. Like, we all have a really tough time, but you are always reliant on other people. And I think just getting people talking is the key to mental health, and making sure that, you don't sit there on your own. You don't think, oh, I'll be fine, because you're not going to be. So it's key to talk to people, and we're just really lucky that we've got loads of support from each other. So.
Can I just say something? I was going to say that's like when we go to FEG, when you said about competitive, they're all very competitive. They all want to win. They all want to get a rosette and a big prize. But like what Lisa did for our last Forces Equine Games last year, we had, what was it, ride run? What was it? What did we do when we ran around doing hanging tough and stuff?
Oh, Handy Pony.
Handy Pony, that's it, yes. You've got crew manager Sally-Ann Walker, who's one down from Charlotte Dujardin in dressage, dressing her pony up as a fire truck.
And no one practiced at all.
No, and it was carnage.
It was all on the fly.
And it was, I'm out there dressed up as a young showing pony girl, and I've got these stupid plaits and falling off, but everyone laughed, and it's about lifting you up.
It's about smiling. It's about laughing. How many members do you now have?
I think the last count we did, we were in between about 1,300 to 1,500 people.
Wow.
And you think we're a unique niche market.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Listen, I want to throw it out to the crowd. Who has a question for any of our lovely panel here at Forces Equine? We've got one over there. I'm going to run around with my mic.
Hi everyone. I was just wondering how you manage to fit competing and training in with your actual jobs. Do you get time off? Are your employers quite understanding? How do you fit it in?
Who wants to go? Well, I can go first. Fitting everything in is a juggling act, and you have to be exceptionally amazing at planning and preparation. As far as work goes, getting time off, we have generally it's just our normal annual leave balance. You don't necessarily get extra special treatment just because we compete. There may be times, if you're going to, say, Olympia or things like that, where you might get special permission for leave that will overcome short staffing, something like that. But in general, it's all about us planning, preparing. We'll look at our seasons ahead. and yeah, have to basically plan ahead. I don't know whether yours.
Yeah, I'm very exactly the same. I work down south, so I'm over in Bulford, in Wiltshire area, but my horses are up in Lincolnshire. So I have a 4 to 5 hour distance for my horses. So obviously I can't go ride every single day. So I have to go every weekend, which is obviously a travel. But you know, it's back to what Charlotte said earlier. It's if you're determined and you love your horses, you're going to do it. You want to do it, and yeah, it's just finding the time to do it for some people. But like I said, it's like Charlotte said, the army, the police, a lot of services for big events will allow you time to go and compete, and also they might fund it as well in some cases. But yeah, I don't know about any of you guys.
Just the same. We have to fit it in.
It's the same everywhere.
Yeah. Amy, you've got the thing. You've just had a baby as well.
Yes.
That's another added pressure as well.
Yes.
How do you fit it in? Like the question.
I don't know yet. I haven't gone back to work. I'm still on maternity leave for 2 more months. So it is going to be a challenge fitting in. I've got no idea. All I keep thinking is, thank God I'm going back to work in the summer, so the nights are longer, and then I'll figure it all out.
I'm assuming a few of you have night shifts as well, to come off a night shift and then still go and look after your horses, because the care and the welfare of the horses is imperative. So how do you do it? Who has a night shift here? How do you come off a night shift and carry on? Jenna, you're looking.
I'm luckier now because I don't work full nights like I used to. The latest I might work is 3 or 5 in the morning. But I've done it where I've done a 10-7 shift when I was on response and then gone and competed straight afterwards. And you just weigh it up. You know, I had a good team that I used to ride other people's horses, so I could literally just rock up at a show, sit and have a kip in the lorry for an hour and then be able to get on and ride. And you get into that mode sometimes you'll finish a night shift and you're almost in that mode that it's like a day shift, so you've got that evening as it were, which is early morning, and then you're sleeping in the afternoon. So it just depends on what you do, and obviously you've got to be realistic with your hours and what you're doing. But shows don't move and dates don't move and venues don't move, so if there's something that you've qualified for, a lot of the time, like these guys say, they do support you. And they, you can swap shifts about and move things about if there's something we've qualified for that we want to go to. But yeah, it's just, as always, it's a juggling act. Even just going and mucking out in the morning, it's got to be done. And I do that on my DIY. I will finish a shift, and then you have to think, do I go to bed at 3 a.m. and then get up at 6 a.m. and then go back to bed again? So yeah, it's just it's whatever works for you. Some people will find it easy, and it's being flexible at home, really.
I know I don't function on no sleep. Charlotte, I also know you do night shifts as well, and I think you came off one and won a competition. Have you ever, though, forgotten a round or a dressage test or anything due to the night shift?
Not yet. Sleep deprivation is a thing. Coffee is your friend, and a power nap as well. So yeah, you never know what day of the week it is, but you just get up and you get on with it.
Listen, any more questions from the crowd? We've got a few minutes left. Do we have another question for this lovely gang? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. We don't have any other questions, but I do. Which is great. David, do you ride yourself? Are you part of this? You say you're just the man behind it all, but are you on a horse? Are you getting on as well?
They're all laughing at me. I've dabbled in it. I've done a little bit of polo. I guess you can call that semi-riding. And with Debbie, obviously, we've grown up with horses. We've always had horses in our lives through my parents and married to Debbie. So, you either join them rather than fight against them. You take up the baton and you get on. And we have gone out for rides and hats, and we've done a few I think my first jumping lesson was a meter, which the instructor didn't know that, and that went, interestingly, horribly wrong. No technique whatsoever. But I dabble in it. However, because I've done a little bit, I appreciate what's involved to even as a hobby, or to compete, or to get to the top of these particular disciplines. So I completely appreciate how much time and effort goes into it, as does any sport. So I have a little bit of dabble.
I think the thing that really strikes me is Forces Equine isn't just for people who want to go for a hack. You are all competing at an extraordinary level as well, and going to places like Olympia. I mean, mere mortals like myself are just hacking and enjoying, but to do the jobs you do and also compete at a high level, which most people will spend their whole lives just focusing on that to get there, is really extraordinary. Debbie, sort of same question as David. Are you involved with this as well? Are you riding? Are you competing as well, or are you just running the whole show?
I used to compete for the Army in the Royal Signals up until around about 1999. And then my horse, she got damaged. Then I started riding again, but I broke my back in 2014. And as this one and this one down here now, I've sort of lost my bottle a little bit. So I go out and do a bit of dressage, but Dylan competes my horse and goes out and wins on him, so I'm like a proud mum, it's great. But yeah, so I still dabble, I still do a bit. Lisa bullies me into riding every time I go and see her, and then I come off with a massive smile because it's great for your mental health. So yeah, I am still about, but I do get a real good buzz out of these guys. I know Charlotte was saying, you know, her best thing of her life was globals. I remember being stood in that run and they put a rosette on her. And I said, what's the rosette for? Well, I've been placed in the top 10. I was like, oh. She's there in uniform, FE stuff. And she goes, you have to wait till you wins because they'll put the rug on. And this woman comes from nowhere and sticks the rug on, and I just burst into tears. And I'm like this, filming her, and I'm just like, this is amazing. This is one of our members. I'm proud of all of them, but there's been some real, oh my God moments.
Yeah, and for you to have set it all up. Daisy, like we said, you've done amazingly with the Hoys 1, 2. Debbie, I can only imagine the tears at that point.
we couldn't go, so we're all in a Arena UK show office with Lauren crying our eyes out, and it was just so amazing, and we watched it on the live stream. It was unreal.
Daisy, what next for you? Where's next for your next competition? What next with the horses?
I'm not sure really. We've got quite a few up and coming youngsters that we're just bringing on to get them out ready to compete and then sell them. So probably just bringing them on, to be honest, and just getting them out, getting some exposure for them, and then getting them sold.
Absolutely. Last question really, because we are running out of time. But what advice would you give anyone who is serving, who wants to get into this? How do they approach you? How do they become a member?
So we've got a website, forcesequine.com. They can go online, or they can do what they always do, go on the website and then ring me. Or they ring the office and they normally get me. But yeah, they can just go onto the website. There's lots of information. We're here for the weekend at X2. Come and have a chat to any of us. We all know what we're talking about. We're all passionate about it, and we want to just bring more people from our community in who want to enjoy their downtime with horses, no matter what level.
Lastly, what next for Forces Equine? Where do you see this going?
I don't know. It keeps growing. I just want to get more opportunities out there for our members. You know, like I said, we've achieved some great things thus far, but a bit like Jenna, I get a real buzz going out and enjoying supporting them wherever they are. But our season pretty much kicks off in April with the RAF Championships. And then we go on to Royal Windsor. We've then got tournament, Royal Navy in August, then the combined services are in September, and then we go into FEG in October. And then we also, well, I try to go and hide for the winter, but they don't let me. So, but it's just going out there and seeing what more opportunities are out there that I can try and be necky to get for them, or wait to see who will offer us opportunities and just get it out to them all, because I just think, you know, it's there, guys. You know, and cost of living in that, we know it's going to be a bit hard, but they all still want to go out and do it. I mean, they've all come out today.
It's amazing. Thank you so much for you all to be here. I know that if, you know, any questions throughout the day, I'm sure everyone can go and talk to you all. A massive well done for Forces Equine, a massive well done to all of you competing. Thank you for all the work that you do alongside it as well. I say alongside your main jobs with it too. Can we just have a huge round of applause for the Forces Equine team?